I want to finish up here with the idea that while we had 14 players move clubs, a lot of teams were quiet. Now there were teams that were quiet because they had to be and they had no flexibility, and there were teams that were quiet that you look at and you're just like, why? Which team for you should have done something more?
I feel like this may fall under the group of not really having the flexibility to make moves right now. But I hate to have this conversation because your head's not going to fit in the doorway after this one. But I'm starting to get on that Atlanta United train of this is not looking good. And the main thing is the area that I had concerns with going into the season, right? It's the defense. Like they made all these moves to bolster the attack, and yes, the attack has been underwhelming so far, but I think it's been fine enough that you give them a bit more time to figure things out. I mean, they have 11 goals so far, which is maybe slightly under middle of the pack in the Eastern Conference, but not to a point where you're like, oh my God, sound the alarms. They've only scored 4 goals in the season so far, but they've conceded 16. Like their defense is horrible. It's terrible. And it shouldn't be a surprise. I mean, they were poor defensively last year. They've been poor defensively every single year for years now, and they don't make any changes in defense. And so it's like, of course, the situation is not going to change. You're not going to magically become good defensively all of a sudden. You're not necessarily missing these key defensive figures that are all of a sudden going to come back and fix all the defense. Like your starters are out there. You know, it's Gregerson, it's Williams, it's Brooks Lennon, it's like Brad Guzan and goal. Like these are your starters based on who you have on the roster, and you're not getting it done defensively. A change was needed. I don't necessarily know if they really had the flexibility to make that change, but I really wish they had done something to just put some change together for the defense because what they have right now is just a hot mess.
Yeah, well, and that was one of the teams, of course, that popped in because I've been on the fraud watch train for what, 2 months now, and the season's been only happening for 6 weeks. Um,
Yeah, pretty much.
yeah, no, the big thing, right, is the reason I stayed away from them was because there isn't a lot of flexibility to make that impact move, right? Yeah, maybe you could have gone in and tried to trade for somebody and upped it that way, but you're gonna have to throw some considerable gammon there, right, for somebody who's gonna make a real difference in the short term, and you don't have a lot of that left. And the only other spots that you have open are U22 players, right? And we've talked about it before, where U22 players, especially in the back line, are not a bad investment, but you have to get them right, right? Um, Macania out of Philly is always my big example. He's been a U22 player for 2 years now. He's just started playing now. It's like, you're playing a lot of money for somebody not to do that. So you can't just go out and be like, oh, we're going to sign somebody a U22 deal and not have them make an impact, right? So the team I landed on, and this is probably, so I have two. The first one I put was DC because I would have expected with the situation they're in that they try and fix it sooner rather than later. But then I remembered that they might be in the market for a big DP player in the middle of the season. So I've kind of backed up
Is it
on
a Belgian midfielder by chance?
Raja Nainggolan out of retirement. Yes, sir. No, so I landed on CF Montreal, the team that we have talked about time and time again, and I know we're beating a dead horse here. Like I'm not trying to pretend that it is something we haven't talked about, but it just feels like the team. This is the time that the team could have stepped up and been like, "Yep, you're right. We got to fix this." Right? Still have a DP spot open. You've got a U22 spot. I mean, let's be realistic here. You've got three of your four U22s filled. And I'm pretty sure at least one of them doesn't play. Has Jalen Neal recovered yet?
I haven't heard his name at all, so I
I
would
haven't
assume
heard his name
no.
at all either. So you're, 2/3 of your yeah, he's made one appearance for like 1 minute. So for 5 minutes, excuse me. So you've got four players, half of them don't play. Actually, Vrioni's been hurt too, so 75% of them don't play. You haven't filled the other two. It just feels, your coach is gone. It just feels like you needed something to come in and be like, listen, we've got one more bullet in the chamber. We're gonna let it fly for 3 months with the interim coach and just see what happens. Right? The only thing that they did was let go of Jaquil Marshall-Ruddy. They sent him out on loan. So, and we talked about how he might be on the move because, the layout of that team didn't quite fit him long term, which is fine. But again, when you're in the position you are, where you have 3 points out of 0 wins with 4 goals scored all season, what is the point, right? When you listen to these people who are like, oh, there's no consequences in MLS, you don't have to do anything. Like Montreal are the reason those things exist. Like, yeah, you fired your coach, but what's that going to do, you know? And
No,
then
yeah, I
and then
agree.
I yeah, and then I also mentioned LA, but LA's hurt. They don't have a ton of flexibility, so I didn't put them in either. But yeah, it's really Montreal for me.
I'm glad you said Montreal because I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, shame on the ownership for not using this as an opportunity to finally invest in this team because this is just sad at this point. Like
Mhm.
I just feel so bad for the Montreal fans. Like I don't know how you continue to back a team that just clearly does not care. Like like ownership just does not care about this team. They refuse to properly invest in this team. And the league's not in the shape anymore where you can get away with that and still have a couple of good seasons. You're just not like you have to invest in this team or you're not going to be competitive. Like you can't get away with that anymore. I mean, look at this season. It's a perfect example. There's really good like structural pieces in this team, and I really feel like they have a really good baseline. And if they added the right DPs, could actually be a competitive team, but they
Mhm.
just refuse to do so, and it's such a missed opportunity.
Yep, you couldn't have said it better myself.